folder, you can see that there is a CRT file which is my certificate, and there is a server.key which will be utilized for passing the information. So first let's set the certificate. So I'm switching to Salesforce. I am navigating to App Manager. The second connected app is where it is used for REST API. So I'm going to click on View. And once the page loads, you can click on Edit. And here you can use digital signature, and you can click on Choose File. And here you can choose the certificate, which is CRT file, and then open it. And you can save this. And it can take up to like 10 minutes in general to sync all that information. But once this is loaded, you can see that whatever the information that we have provided there is loaded, and you can see the expiry date as well. So this is where you might not get notified, so you'll have to like set up calendars. Now if I switch back here and try to open the server.key, now open it in text data tab, open. So this is where it starts with begin RSA private key and end RSA private key. I'll switch back to AWS. I'll navigate to System Manager. You can go to the launcher here and search for a service called System Manager. When it loads, you can, in the left hand side, you can see something called as parameter stores. And after the page loads, you can see there are like multiple parameters that are there, but the one that will have to look at this point is related to private key. So if you see the private key, there are two private keys. One is for REST API, another one is for JWT. So this is where I said that it is automated at this point. So you can see that as of today it got updated, because when we clicked on update key, it updated this information to the latest. Others are like on the same day when I created the contact center. Now since we are working on the REST API, I can click on this private key, and you can click on show value that it is a string right now. I'm going to click on edit, come back here, copy this all together, remove this and paste, and I'll click on save changes. So this is the first thing that we have to do here. Now if I come back to Salesforce, I can click on manage consumer details. So at this point you'll be receiving a verification email, and once you verify that, you'll get a consumer key. So this consumer key, I'll copy it, come back here to AWS. I'll come back to REST API consumer key. Same here, it is a string right now, not a valid information. And I'll save this. So two of these are completed at this point. Now let's test this out so that you understand how it works. I'll give you the sample code. So I can just type REST API. You'll be navigated to the REST API Lambda, similar to like Salesforce Anonymous Apex, where you execute it. Similar way in Lambda you can execute a function and then see this. I'll give you the sample here. So I'm just gonna do select ID from case limit 1. I'm just trying to query one record and then see if it works. So I can come here, save it as an event, and then like I can click on test. So when I click on test, this is where it says that it is still a 400 error and it is not able to hit the URL. So the part where we have worked on is only these two. Now let's look at this API audience. So based on whether you are using a production instance or sandbox instance, you'll have to change this value. Since I've created from production, or the dev environment, it points out to login.salesforce.com, which is accurate. If you're working in Sandbox, it has to be test.salesforce.com. I'll go back to parameter store. Now if I come back here, everything looks good except the subject. And again, if I go back here, anytime that you execute and if you run into any of these issues, you can always look at the error message and try to sort it out. So at this point, I haven't set up my username here. So if I look at this, it is just the subject, which is ideally wrong. I'll have to provide the username of the Salesforce user who has access to this org. So I'm going to change this to my username and then save the changes. And let's see if it still works. I'll hit on test again. Let's see if it has resolved. So now you can see a different error which says that user is not a admin approved to access this app. So just seeing a error message, it says that there is an app and then the user who's trying to access it is not admin approved. So let's see what it looks like. So I'll go to App Manager again, open the REST API, connected app, click on View. And since it is more on like managing the connected app access, I can click on Manage. So when I click on Manage, you can see that the permission set and profiles are like empty. So again, similar to what we have seen for like single sign-on, if the user doesn't have access to this connected app, then they won't be able to access the external system. So same happens here. AWS is trying to access Salesforce via a user, but we haven't whitelisted them. So since I've given my username, who's a system admin, I'm just gonna hit save. You can either do it or Salesforce offers, I think, 3 or 5 integration users for free based on the org that you are in. So in that case, you can either create a custom permission set and provide access to that integration profile or the integration user. So you kind of provide access to that user. So I'm gonna navigate to AWS again and click on test. And this time you can see that it provided an ID. So what we did right now is that we have set the private key, we have set the consumer key, audience was correct, the subject was missing, so we provided a user's username here and we whitelisted that user on the REST API connected app. So this is how you establish connection between two systems. Now I can use that REST API in my contact flow and I can hit the particular object and get a response, or I can use SOQL queries to identify the related contact account or even create records in Salesforce. Thanks for watching this. Let's meet in the next setup part video.